Got the whole world in your hands. You got the whole wide world in your hands. You got. Hello once again. Here is Bharat from Palmistry Unplugged, and today we're going to start the series on the hotline. Now, what is the hotline? The hotline is showing how we love and in which directions does that love want to go. The hotline is also showing the connection with the mother. Like the beginning of the hotline is very much showing the connection as opposed to the lifeline, headline combination, which is showing more the father connection. But the hotline is really showing that, and it's really showing how much love the person has received from the mother during the pregnancy, whether they were unwanted or wanted baby, for example. We will be going into that, and it's amazing how this one little spot on the hand can give so much information. Okay, and as you can see in the diagram, the hotline begins on the Mercury, and which is the area of relationship, communication. In some books, they show that the hotline begins on the other side in Jupiter, and that's wrong. It just doesn't. The hotline begins in Mercury, and then it goes across the palm, and then somewhere around Saturn. If it crosses the Saturn mount, it will go up towards Jupiter. That is the growth of the hotline. It is not the other way, and I guess if you do see a palmistry book that hasn't, it's wrong. And the problem is that many palmistry books, they just copy what they've read in another book without verifying. But in fact, the hotline does travel in that direction. So that is the difference, that the hotline travels in the opposite direction of the headline and of the lifeline. So that's why it's good that there can be a good separation between the head and the hotline, so each one can perform its function without interference. But then when the headline or hotline gets closer to the headline, then because there's a plus-minus situation, friction comes there, resistance comes there, things are harder. And so when the hotline is lower set, because the hotline can also be high set and low set, and a person with a low set hotline is going to be more gloomy. Is going to be not so bright and cheerful as somebody with a high set hotline, because they're facing this interference with the mind going the opposite direction. So the energy is used up in that way, and because of this, the people are less bright. They tend to be gloomy. So that's not always, but there's definitely that tendency there. Okay, so now the classification of the hotline, which is your emotional body. It's not the mood swings. Actually, mood swings, as we talked about with the headline, is much more with the headline than it actually is with the hotline. The heart is much more with love. How is your love flowing? In which direction does it want to go? What is the relationship with the mother? Okay, so there again are 4 or 5 classifications of the hotline, different hotlines, and it's all based upon where the hotline ends, right? So the hotline can end on the Saturn, under the Saturn mount. The hotline can end between the 2 fingers, between the Jupiter and the Saturn finger. It can end in the mount of Jupiter. It can end at the base of Jupiter, or the hotline could go down and end at the lifeline. But that's quite rare. But I do see that so often, not so often, but I'm actually happy not to see that very often because it's not a good sign. So that's how the classification of the hotline goes. And so just to recap here, what is a perfect hotline? You know, a perfect line on the palm is one that has no breaks. It has a little bit of thickness. It's a little bit red. It's showing, it's showing life force. You know, it's not a thin little line showing less life force in it or passion in it. It has no breaks. Which shows, breaks in the hotline are not only on emotional levels, also on the circulation, on the cardiovascular system. You know, so it's both. It's the physical system and the emotional system. So this is the type that what you're looking for in a really strong hotline. And what a strong hotline gives a person is emotional strength. You know, when you see a hotline that is full of breaks and circles and chains and dots and whatever, this person is going to be very sensitive. And you can get to this person. You hit on this person and they're going to collapse. Whereas a person who has a strong hotline, they have that emotional strength. You consult them. They're not going to collapse. They're going to say, well, that's your problem. Whereas the person with the sensitive hotline, with all the leaks and breaks in the hotline, they're going to collapse and go, oh God, this person doesn't like me. So, so this is what the hotline is showing. It's showing that emotional strength. It's also showing how much trauma there was in the childhood, and we would be talking about that. Whether there was that slug with the mother, which we would be talking about that as well. And I think I will start that off on the next video, and we're going to end that here. Okay, so again, here is Bharat at Palmistry Unplugged, and this is the first talk on the hotline, and you should shortly see me again to continue this talk. Okay, take care.
Got the whole world in your hands.